Hey guys, today we have Aditya and he is having 3.5 year of experience in Java, Spring Boot and microservices domain. And those who want to give same free mock interview, please fill out the form below in the description. So now let's get started. Hey, hello Aditya, how are you?
Yeah, hi Fazan. I'm good. How are you?
Yes, I'm also good. Shall we start?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So Aditya, can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
Okay. Yeah, so Fazan,
Uh,
I have total 3.5 years of experience in Java, Spring Boot microservices,
okay.
and I used to build APIs,
Mm-hmm.
uh, work on the user stories, sprint wise.
Mm-hmm.
So, currently, I'm working on the US client, that is Home Depot. So I'm working with
Mm-hmm.
the Home Depot client. So my responsibility is to build APIs,
Mm-hmm.
work on the for maintenance. I have also work for maintenance and for
Mm-hmm.
uh, I have to for enhancement of the application. So we have
Mm-hmm.
also worked for the enhancement of the application. Like this, we are working
Okay,
in
okay.
yes,
Okay. So you create REST APIs as well, right? In your
yes,
day-to-day
yes,
task.
yes.
Okay. So how your project life cycle is structured means what's your sprint time life cycle and everything?
Yeah, so sprint life cycle is for 2 weeks. Like we
Okay.
work on 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, I'm working in the one of the migration projects. So we migrated our project from uh, PCF to GCP. So
Mm-hmm.
before it was in PCF, so we migrated
Uh-huh.
to GCP and deployed to GCP. So
Okay.
we also take care of deployment work. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, as you said, you also work creating REST APIs and all.
Yes.
So, can you please, let's say, if a new joiner joined your project, and if you want to suggest some five best practices or five best things while creating REST API, so what would be your uh, five suggestions?
Okay, if new
Mm.
joiner is coming, so the
Mhm.
first suggestion is to understand the requirement.
Okay.
What is the requirement? Why we are making for what type of API we are making? What type of
Mm-hmm.
request we are sending?
Mm-hmm.
So first we need to understand the requirement. And
Okay.
second, we need to understand which type of data is coming from the front end, like
Mm-hmm.
whether we have to which type of API we have to create with which type of request, like
Mm-hmm.
we have to perform get mapping, post mapping,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
the form of request body, whether it is
Mm-hmm.
coming as JSON response or XML
Mm-hmm.
response. This we need to configure,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to check what type of security is there, like
Mm-hmm.
auth2 security, pingfed security is there,
Okay.
JWT, or we have to analyze which type of.
Okay.
And one more important point is we have to also focus on the uh, status code. What
Status
status
code.
code? Yeah, what status code we have to pass in which type of actions. We also
Mm-hmm.
have to and we also need to focus on the URLs, which type of mapping
Mm-hmm.
should be
So you know URL versioning?
URL versioning.
Uh-huh.
URL versioning, no, I haven't.
Like while upgrading any API from version V1 to V2 to
Yes,
V3.
yeah, V1, V2, yeah,
So have you done?
yes, we have done from V1, V2, yeah.
Okay. So Aditya, I would like to share one important thing with you. Actually, we had launched complete interview preparation material, structured step by step by myself, experts and MNCs interviewers. And the best part is that now no one need to go anywhere else to prepare interviews. There is a 99% chance that interviews will ask questions from this material. So basically, it contains a lot of material categorized by experience level. Means each experience level has different material with all possible interview questions and answers for Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data, JPA, Kafka, microservices, Java coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. I have provided the link to get this in the below description. And if someone needs this material, plus two real enterprise client projects for reference, plus one-on-one lifetime doubt sessions and referrals to the big MNCs, then they should check interview preparation kit. I will provide the link for this as well in the description below. So now moving to our interview. Can you please tell me what would be the status code for successfully deleting data from an API?
200, if any is successful, operations would be there, then the response code would be 200.
Okay. Okay. So, have you used HashMap in your project?
Yes, yes, we have used Hasmap.
Okay, okay. So, what's the importance of equals method while adding keys to a map?
Equals method is used for equals method is actually it to compare the indexes. It compares the hash code that is generated. So it internally compares the hash code, and according to that, the index will be decided. So that is important for in the internal working of hash map.
Okay. Okay. Suppose you are using a custom object as a key in a hash map,
Okay.
but you override equals without overriding hash code. What issues can arise?
Okay, if I'm using custom object and I override without using hash code. Actually, there is a contract between hash code and equals method, so we cannot
Mhm.
override without hash code. So it is an internally
So
contract.
what it would lead? I mean, what
It
would be
would
the end result?
it would not able to there is no any chance to find a bucket. So
Mhm.
index will not be determined without using.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, it might lead unexpected behavior like duplicate keys.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Duplicate key would be there, and it would not be
Uh,
able to find the bucket index.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And have you worked with singleton design pattern?
Yes, yeah, I have worked in singleton with design work pattern, yeah.
Okay, okay. So how can we what's the use of singleton design pattern basically? Use
Uh,
case.
Okay. Singleton
Mm-hmm.
design pattern space if object we have created. So once we have to create an object. So
Mm-hmm.
if the object is created, so we don't need to create the another object. Like if
Mm-hmm.
for database configuration we use if we have to perform any database configuration. So
Mm-hmm.
once we have created the object and we have to access that object again and again, so we use singleton pattern there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a use case for, and we have another use case like we don't need to create multiple objects for a single class. So
Uh,
single turn pattern there.
so what's the difference between singleton class and singleton design pattern?
Singleton design pattern is a way where
Mm-hmm.
we define a class as a singleton. So it is a design
Mm-hmm.
pattern, and
Mm-hmm.
singleton class we manually design our own way, like making the constructor private, and we define some conditions initialize
Okay,
the.
okay. Where we can use singleton class.
So singleton class we use. Yeah, as I said, we when we have to create a single
Mm-hmm.
object, so in that scenario we use singleton class
Mm-hmm.
in database configuration, like some bean we have created, and we have provided some configuration related to
Mm-hmm.
DP, so we use that. Whether we have
Okay.
to use on a single object, then we use singleton.
Uh, when we are going to create some single instance of database, we can
Yeah,
use
single instance of
singleton
database.
class.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Aditya, as we were discussing about singleton class, so what's the best way to create singleton class?
The best way to create a singleton class is we can create singleton class in two ways. One is
Hmm.
lazy way, and another one is eager way.
Okay.
So yeah, so there is based on our requirement whether we have to create the object,
Hmm.
already create the object. Actually,
Hmm.
if we are creating an object in a lazy way, then
Hmm.
the object will create only once we call the method get instance method if we create it. So, and
Hmm.
the eager way, the object is already created, so
Hmm.
we can use the eager way. So according to our requirement, if we have to create, if we need the created
Hmm.
instance,
Hmm.
or if we want to create the object once the method is
Hmm.
called, then we so
Okay. Okay. So let's say in a high concurrency environment, how would you ensure your singleton class initialization is efficient and thread safe?
yeah, so for making a set thread safe, we have to mark a singleton method
Mm-hmm.
get instant method, or we have to provide our object creation inside the synchronized block.
Mm-hmm.
So if we give the instance creation inside the synchronized block, then we will
Mm-hmm.
ensure that the only one thread will access at a time. So we,
Okay, okay.
yeah, using this we can search.
Mm. What's a volatile keyword?
Volatile keyword. Mm, Volatile keyword I knew. Uh,
It ensures visibility and ordering
yeah,
of
yeah.
variables across threads.
Yeah. If you have
Mm-hmm.
to modify it, yeah, it's insert the visibility and ordering of
Mm-hmm.
changings made to the variable threads according.
Mm-hmm.
So it's make the visibility and ordering of the threads. So we use
Okay.
volatile
Okay.
keywords. Yeah.
Okay. So two threads increment a shared volatile counter variable.
Hmm.
Okay. Will the volatile keyword guarantee a correct result?
Yes. Yeah.
How?
Yeah. Actually,
Is
I'm not that
does
much aware
volatile
of
keyword?
volatile keyword. I have to look into that how it's work.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
basically, what's one characteristics of volatile keyword is it doesn't provide atomicity.
Atomic. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why we cannot do this like shared things and all.
Okay. I will look into that. The volatile.
Yeah, yeah. It's fine,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map?
Okay, so hash map is a traditional map, and concrete hash map is a thread sieve. So if we have to make our program as a thread sieve, so we use concrete hash map, or instead of not making a thread sieve environment, so we use
Mhm.
general hash map.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So would switching to concurrent hash map from hash map solve a concurrent modification exception?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any scenario for this?
Scenario like if
Like how you were getting this exception in what case and how you resolve this by taking help of this concurrent hash map.
okay, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like if you take any example, okay.
Uh-huh.
Uh, mm, like if there is account, okay, there is a
Mm-hmm.
salary account and someone
Mm-hmm.
want to access that salary account. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a 10,000 rupees, for example, in
Mm-hmm.
the account, and one thread is accessing that 10,000, and
Mm-hmm.
suddenly the access is stopped for one thread one, and the another
Mm-hmm.
thread work on that particular salary, and it
Mm-hmm.
reduce the amount as at 8,000. So
Mm-hmm.
it will, and again the thread wants to access that particular amount, then the amount will
Mm-hmm.
reflect as 8,000 rupees, because 2,000 amount has been deducted from thread 2. So there is
Mm-hmm.
an inconsistency among the data. So
Mm-hmm.
there is a there is a scenario like employee salary if we're taking about. But if we, yeah, if we are using concurrent hash map, so
Mm-hmm.
it will avoid this situation only when the thread is started. Then the execution, once the completed for thread 1, then only thread 2 will able to access it. So this
Mm-hmm.
is a real-time scenario.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, so moving ahead, what's a Java's garbage collection mechanism?
Okay, Java garbage collection mechanism is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it happens like if any instance is not has been used from a long time,
Uh-huh.
some instances may not be
Mm-hmm.
used in the memory. So
Mm-hmm.
Java garbage collection internally works, so it
Uh-huh.
remove the unused object that is not
Mm-hmm.
used from a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
the
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Got it. If your application suffers from frequent garbage collector poses, GC poses, how would you optimize it?
So uh, finalize keyword we use optimization for optimize. So, would you repeat please one's questions?
Yeah, let's say if your application suffers from frequent GC pauses,
Okay.
how would you optimize it?
Mm, okay.
Have you heard
Mm,
about tuning the heap size using
yeah, yes, yeah,
uses
tuning.
G1 using
Yes,
G1
yeah.
GC?
Yeah, tuning the heap size, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that. I've heard about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, so what are the functional interfaces in Java 8?
Okay, functional interfaces is
Mm-hmm.
actually if we in interface if there is only one abstract method,
Mm-hmm.
so we can call as a functional interface. And functional
Mm-hmm.
interface is mainly used in a stream
Mm-hmm.
API,
Mm-hmm.
stream and lambda. If we are using any lambda expression, so we
Mm-hmm.
use functional interface in that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are
What's the
some
difference between, yeah, yeah,
there are some predefined functional interfaces like
yeah.
runnable. Yeah.
What's the difference between callable and runnable?
Callable and runnable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so inside the callable, there is a inside the runnable interface is used for making a thread. So if we have to make a thread, so we use runnable interface. So there is
Mm-hmm.
in runnable interface there is a run method
Mm-hmm.
inside the runnable interface there is a run method,
Okay.
and yeah, but callable interface callable interface
Can
uh,
return a result and throw checked exception.
yes, yeah.
Uh, okay. Which interface would you use for a task that needs to return a result or handle exceptions?
Okay.
Okay, so this one I just recently told you, callable because
Sorry, okay, yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, we can return a result.
Actually, we haven't used callable for a long time, so I have to
Oh, oh, okay,
repeat it.
okay. Yeah, it's fine then.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you used bifunction interface?
No, I haven't used bifunctional interface. Yeah.
Okay, okay. We can use this if we want to combine two lists of integers.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, mm, so according to you, what's the best way to secure a REST API?
Uh, we used PingFet for security
Hmm?
over PingFet authentication.
Mm-hmm.
And PingFed authentication we use in our application, and we can also use JWT authentication.
Okay.
Yeah, so we pass the token JWT token for ensuring that
Mm.
the API is secure or not. So there is two ways, and OAuth is also one way to secure our application.
Okay. Okay. So how would you implement the security mechanism to prevent CSRF and ensure only authorized users can access certain endpoints?
Yeah, CSRF is so we create a one class security config class, and inside that we
Mm-hmm.
define the roles and password and there's we define the some roles who can access our
Mm-hmm.
API. So we define the API inside the rules, and we give some certain password. So we can define like this. So
Okay.
inside the security config method, we used to
Mm.
define,
Okay.
and
Okay.
we give the accessibility like has rule this method.
Uh, okay. What's a logging mechanism you guys are using in your microservices?
Locking mechanism like API gateway. Uh,
API gate, is it my logging mechanism?
Locking
No, no,
logging
logging.
logging. Okay,
Yeah.
logging. So
Like
we use,
tracking
yeah,
the,
SLF4J we use, SLF4J we use in logging. So
okay.
logger, yeah, SLF4J generally
Is
we,
SLF4J inbuilt or what?
yeah, it is inbuilt. Yeah.
I mean inbuilt in a Spring Boot application.
Yeah, actually we use Spring Commons jars. In the Spring
Okay.
Commons jar,
And what about logback?
no, actually we use Logger Factory, SLF4J
No,
in,
I think logback is a default logging mechanism of a Spring Boot.
okay.
Mm.
But in our application, there is one jar, Spring Commons jar. So inside that,
Uh,
there is one as log SLF4J. So we use that for logging
okay.
our
Okay.
application. Yeah.
So how would you implement traceability for a single request across my multiple services?
Traceability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Traceability.
No, no, traceability,
Trace.
tracing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Actually, your voice is a little. You're suffering from cold, like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And traceability, we use Logger. So we use log dot debug and log dot so we put the logs for tracing our applications, put logs for
Okay,
tracing our applications,
okay, okay.
responding. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So have you used Lombok in your project?
Yeah, I've used Lombok.
Why do we use Lombok?
Actually, Lombok is used for removing the boilerplate plates.
Mm-hmm.
Codes. So we use actually it's also remove the redundancy of the code.
Mm-hmm.
Like getter, we if we before Lombok we have to create the getter, setter, method, and constructor manually. So
Mm-hmm.
by using Lombok, there is some annotations like at the rate getter, at the rate setter, at the rate
Mm-hmm.
no constructor, rate constructor. So we can use Lombok and we can
Mm-hmm.
define it. So by using this, we can use their functionality.
Okay. Okay. Uh, what is mm, so have you connected multiple database in Spring Boot?
Yeah, yeah, we have connected
So
multiple
how would
data.
you do that?
Yeah, so in Spring, in application.properties file or application.yml file, we provide a database configuration like database data source or the data source we are using. So if we are
Mm-hmm.
using multiple data source, so we can give the configuration of multiple data source there. Like in my
Mm-hmm.
application, we have used Postgres and Oracle database and DB2 also we have used. So we give the configuration there,
Mm-hmm.
and we also create a bean for that particular data source, what the data source we are using, like in
Mm-hmm.
parameters. So we create the bean and we can access by using that. So in config file, we define the bean for that particular data source that we are
Mm-hmm.
using, and we can use that.
Okay.
Yes.
And what's a way to increase the query performances?
Ah, okay. So query performance we can increase by using if your JPA is one of the powerful tool ORM JPA. So we use JPA for enhancing our query performance, and native query
Mm-hmm.
we also use. So for and yeah, we ensure that the query we are returning, so
Mm-hmm.
we are writing, so it should be optimized. Uh, so we use like this.
Mm-hmm. And what about caching or indexing in
Yeah,
query?
caching. Yeah, we also use caching for if the database if any record is accessing again and again. So we
Mm-hmm.
use caching at the rate cacheable at the rate cacheable annotation is there. So we
Mm-hmm.
use caching also.
Okay. So do you guys use Spring Boot Actuator as well?
Yeah, we use actuator. Yeah, if
Okay.
you have to
Okay.
check and monitor the health of the
So
application.
what is the daily routine for this Spring Boot Actuator? Means what you guys check
Yeah, so we check.
frequently?
Okay, yeah, so we check whether the application is running, is application is up
Mm-hmm.
or down. So we use to check using actuator, and we also check the health and the
Mm-hmm.
performance, how is the
Mm-hmm.
performance of the application is working. So we use actuator for this. So for health checkup and monitoring, we use actuator.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So how would you create a health indicator to monitor a third-party API?
Okay, yeah, this I haven't create health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Fine. What is Spring Boot auto configuration?
Okay, Spring Boot, this one annotation is enable or auto configuration. So if we
Mm-hmm.
define Spring Boot enable auto configuration, so it
Mm-hmm.
automatically configures all the beans and
Mm-hmm.
all the config classes
Mm-hmm.
automatically in our in Spring Boot application. It also configure all the dependencies and map
Mm-hmm.
there in our application. So we use enable auto configurations.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to manually configure all the dependencies like before
Mm-hmm.
Spring Boot in a Spring application. We have to define all the configuration in XML file, and like this we have to do. But in Spring Boot there is an annotation like enable auto configuration, so we don't need to manually uh, configure all the dependencies and
Mm-hmm.
configurations. So
Okay. Okay. How would you customize or disable a specific auto configuration?
yeah, so there is one keyword inside there is a exclude keyword.
Mm-hmm.
So we use exclude keyword and
Mm-hmm.
inside enable auto configuration. So we can define our what the any classes is not using. So we can define inside the exclude keyword, and we can also use exclusions in our pom.xml. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
by
Okay.
using exclusions, we can.
What are the custom exception handling and a Spring Boot REST API?
Okay, because custom exception handling, if there is a any exception, we have to create like user not found. If we have to,
Mm-hmm.
if we have to create our own exceptions, so we can use
Mm-hmm.
custom exception handlings, and we can
Mm-hmm.
also use so some like if we have to if we want our own exceptions, so we can create exceptions by using this. And we there's one also annotation like at the rate controller advice and at rate
Mm-hmm.
exception. So we used to declare the global exception there.
Mm-hmm.
This annotations.
Okay. Okay. And how would you design a global exception?
Yeah. So yeah, this annotation we use at the rate controller advice and at the
And
rate
other than controller advice, what are the important notations?
at the rate exception.
Mm-hmm.
This is a important exception at the rate controller advice and at the rate
Okay. 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 So moving ahead, what are the scopes of Spring Beans?
Okay, so there's mainly I know four scopes. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a singleton,
Mm-hmm.
prototype, session,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, singleton, prototype, and session scope.
Okay. Okay. When would you use request scope over singleton scope for a bean?
Okay, so singleton scope we use when we have to create a bean only once.
Mm-hmm.
So for one single use, we use singleton scope.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if we have to make use of, and if we have multiple use of that particular bean, so we use this prototype. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh, can you tell me a few ways to optimize the Spring Boot application?
Okay. So for optimizing our Spring Boot application,
Mm-hmm.
we should use as we discussed, we have to use caching.
Mm-hmm.
Caching is one way to optimize,
Mm-hmm.
we should use application.yml instead of
Mm-hmm.
properties file instead of dot properties.
Okay.
We should because it is more readable in
Mm-hmm.
comparison of uh, and
Properties. Okay.
yeah, application.properties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we should uh, we should use Java 8 features
Mm-hmm.
instead of traditional features. Like instead of for loop, we should use
Mm-hmm.
Linux for loop stream API. So it will remove some boilerplate,
Mm-hmm.
some boilerplates, and we should use Lombok instead of using traditional data setters.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and we should handle proper exception
Mm-hmm.
so we can optimize our Spring Boot applications. Like this, these
Mm.
are the ways we can optimize our applications.
Okay. Okay. So, how would you address slow startup times and memory leaks in a Spring Boot application?
Low startup time and memory leaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how would you address?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm. We can
Mm,
use lazy initialization. We can
yeah.
optimize garbage collection settings. We can consider using smaller microservices and more focused. And
Mm,
profile to identify memory leaks. We can use some. There are some profiles, some
yeah.
plugins.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so is your project a Maven or Gradle?
It was Maven.
Maven. So what's the
Yeah.
difference between Maven and Gradle?
Okay. So Maven, we already define in Maven we define all the dependencies in
Mm-hmm.
pom.xml.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in Gradle we define dependencies build.config file
Mm-hmm.
is there. So we used to define all the dependencies there in
Okay. So
build.config
you
file.
know about M2 folder in Maven?
Yes. Yeah.
What is this about?
Yeah, when we create any uh, Maven projects using
Mm-hmm.
Spring initializers, the M2 folder will automatically will create
Mm-hmm.
inside
Mm-hmm.
inside it. So it will hold all the dependencies that we are using. So
Mm.
that is a
Okay.
useful folder. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the branching strategies in your project?
Branching strategy means like you're asking about controller.
No,
Or
no, no, no. In your Git.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we take the code from develop
Mm-hmm.
starting, and when we have to give our own features and
Mm-hmm.
our own story, so we create a feature branch for our own, and
Mm-hmm.
after completing our story, we commit the code. Uh, we commit our feature branch in the Git, then it will review our lead and our
Mm-hmm.
technical manager who will be there. So we once we get reviewed and we solve the review comments on the basis of that. So after committing, we used to merge that code with the developer master branch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this we
Okay.
do.
Okay. And mm, mm-hmm. So let's say you have uh, committed something
Okay.
and while merging into a different branch, you are seeing some conflicts. So how would
Hmm.
you resolve that?
Okay, so while merging with different branch, we saw if any conflict. So we get what is the conflict is there. So we internally we check if there is like some indentation problem would be there. So we check whether the conflict is there. So uh, in the we resolve in Git itself. We can edit
Mm-hmm.
our file in Git itself. So we
Mm-hmm.
resolve there and we just recommit the code.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Aditya. It's done from my end.